1, 2, 3. Cody! I started recording. Stop!
Okay.
1, 2. Oh my god, that smells very strong.
Yeah.
What? Oh my god, it's so pungent. What the fuck is that?
Welcome to the Pitcher Podcast, where the conversation is free flow, everything is on the house, and all we ask for in return is for you not to give us
1-star reviews.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Cody.
And
we are the Pitcher Podcast.
Very good. You introduced the topic.
Oh! Today we'll be talking about a bit about dating. Well, slightly
Yeah.
Wait, is this even recording? Yeah, it is.
That'd be so bad.
We'll slightly tap into... Sorry, I have ice in my mouth, so it's sounding really weird.
You're struggling with this
Yeah,
right now.
it's really cold. We're going to slightly tap into dating, and especially modern dating, I would say.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. But before that, let's get into the Culture Corner, which will be movies this week. Cody, why don't you start us off?
So mine is, I think it's called Marriage Story or A Marriage Story, but it's Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson and...
Johansson.
Is it actually? No way. No, it's not. I don't think it is.
Johansson.
I'm not going to say that.
You said Johansson.
No.
That's the proper way to say it.
Okay, Johansson.
That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
I'm such an idiot, Cody.
Stupid.
But it's really hard to find a movie that all of my family will want to watch because I'm into not emotionally intense movies at all. I just want to laugh and be carefree.
Yeah.
And my dad is also kind of similar, but, or doesn't really have too many preferences, but my mom really likes gritty, emotional
dramas.
Things where there's actual substance and it makes you think and makes you reflect on stuff. So we can never agree on movies to watch because I always want to watch Rush Hour 2 and she always wants
the Teletubbies movie.
Yeah. Anyways, I just gave in one night and said that we would watch Marriage Story on Netflix, and it was I get why it was nominated for all these awards and everything, and the acting was really, really good, but it was just so depressing at times too.
So heavy.
Yeah, have you seen it?
No, I've basically I follow cinema or film Instagram accounts. And they always post the same clips of that argument scene in Marriage Story. And it's just them berating at each other. And it's just I can already feel the tension and the stress from just a small scene.
Yeah.
I can't imagine just watching the entire movie itself.
Yeah. No, that scene was crazy. When Adam Driver, he just starts to get red in the face. And then he's so into his acting at the moment. Then he just spittle starts coming out of his mouth when he's yelling. And then he just goes and punches the drywall after it. And his hand goes in and everything. But yeah, just the way that they build up tension over it. And then I think also the cinematography and stuff was quite good in it too. And it has an okay ending too.
What's the general premise? It's talking about a marriage.
Yeah, it starts, the first scene is two people reading out things to each other in couples counseling, and then essentially they decide to get a divorce, and they have a kid, and it's the mom has family in LA and the dad is in New York and everything.
Classic.
And, and then it's just goes into divorce lawyers and when one person starts getting a divorce, and just the way that the divorce lawyers take up so much of the space and stuff, and we'll start to instigate things oh, you need to be doing this to make sure that you have all the assets, and then the other person is we just received news from your lawyer that this is happening, and it just builds up the tension so much more.
Compromise.
Yeah. So anyways, it's a good movie, but I still don't know if I really enjoyed it. So.
I think it was just one of those shock factor movies as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's just super intense and it just hits you in the face. But for my recommendation, it's on the same lines. Oscar nominated. It's this movie called The Wretched. I watched it with Michael and Chris in cinemas, expecting a nice...
Oh, I didn't know you watched it in cinemas.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh,
we expected a nice horror movie, because essentially we watched Antebellum before that. Antebellum, I'm not going to speak too much about it, but I thought it was not that great. The execution was a bit poor. I also thought it was going to be scary. I didn't get scared as well, so I thought this was going to be retribution for that movie.
It's super scary.
The Wretched, I have really little words that are positive about this movie. It's They try to fit in literally every like horror movie trope into the movie, but at the same time not make it scary.
Okay.
It kind of felt like a Disney special.
Okay.
With like slight horror elements.
Okay.
So like everyone's just like watching, like paying attention, and in the back you just hear like me, Michael, and Chris just cackling over like the shittiest like jump scares.
Yeah.
Just like the wackiest like demon devil characters. Yeah. And it was just a really it's a really bad movie.
Yeah.
No offense to the people who made it. I'm sure you guys put a lot of effort into it. But the box office returns were actually really good.
Oh, really?
Their budget was like $66,000.
Oh my god!
And then they racked in like $3 million.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, that is really crazy.
Yeah, there's also an actress in that movie, which is
yeah,
very familiar looking, right?
I went to school with one of like the main actresses.
Yeah.
So
outstanding performance there. Basically, she's like the Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson
of The Wretched. But yeah, I mean, if the movies were like the choices were really limited, so we decided to go with this, and I don't know why I'm recommending it, even though I'm not really recommending it. I'm just shitting on the movie itself. But you know what? Go give it a watch.
Yeah.
Like,
neither of us are recommending our movies.
We should talk about movies that like people probably shouldn't go watch, or like we didn't really enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. It's hard to come up with things that we genuinely recommend like every week.
Yeah. But also like in terms of movies, there's like one thing that I wanted to not get off my chest but talk about. It's this like new movie on Netflix that has garnered so much controversy called Cuties.
Yeah.
I think essentially the premise of the story is to like it's like somewhat of a commentary on the sexualization of like females and like social media and stuff, and how like impressionable it is on like young girls. But then apparently like the movie goes into like because it's hard, like essentially movies that romanticize like high school or college, they're always played by like, actors who are probably like twice
30,
the age, which like it doesn't make it very okay per se, but it makes it better because essentially you're not sexualizing like actual teenagers.
Right.
But in this movie, like if your like main characters are people who are like 13 or 14 and you're actually casting people that age, and then putting them in like weird positions and scenes, it's just like the most uncomfortable thing. Like I've seen only the trailer itself, and that was more than enough to like put me off.
Right.
And I could 100% understand the controversy behind it.
Right.
It's surprising they can even pump this movie out.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yeah. I had never heard about this until like 20 minutes ago when you showed me the trailer.
Yeah.
I didn't know, is that why it was receiving all the controversy? Because they like
sexualize actual like children. And it was like a bit too much. Like it was beyond commentary. It's like you don't have to last that long and just like put them in these situations.
Right.
To send the message across, per se.
And it's on Netflix, too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix as well. So, that is a very, very interesting movie that no one should actually watch.
Yeah. I feel like that seems like it should be illegal or something, right?
It seems like, pretty illegal. Like, the fact that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm out of words, but yes, please go watch The Wretched.
Yeah.
It's,
and maybe watch The Marriage Story if you're into it.
Like, The Wretched actually had, like, it was essentially a retooled version of the movie It.
Oh, okay.
With like different tropes from like movies like Rear Window, like Psycho, like all those like classic movie tropes.
Yeah.
And they just try to jam it into this one masterpiece.
Yeah. Were there any comedy moments in it at all, or no?
Oh, there were like a lot of like really bad one-liners that just kind of made me wince.
Yeah.
And like the acting wasn't great.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised they showed it in Hong Kong as well. Like it
seems like more of like a domestic US release. Yeah. I guess movies are just so limited nowadays. They're just gonna pump out whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, I hate when like movie posters make the movie seem scarier than it actually is. Because the movie poster itself looked pretty like dark and gruesome. Yeah. And the movie just had this like weird like light undertone to it.
Right. Did it have like a happy ending?
Ish, but it was also like a very cliche like to be continued.
Oh, and like something moves at the end.
Or
like that.
Like you thought everything was all right, but then someone's actually secretly possessed.
Yeah,
and it's just oh, this is so lame.
Yeah. Watching horror movies with like our friend group, like, I pity anyone who goes into the same cinema and watches any movie, let alone like horror movies, with our friend group, because it's just the most annoying thing.
It's because, okay, like, I've watched a lot of horror movies in my time, so it's like I'm numb to a lot of things. But who's worse than me is probably Michael.
Yeah.
Because Michael... gotta tread lightly. Because Michael loves watching horror movies by himself.
Yeah.
Which is something I can never fathom or do. But then he's also, like, has a high tolerance to, like, scary stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, these kind of, like, shitty jump scares or these shitty, like, storylines, we're never really scared about it.
Yeah.
And we're never, like, too phased. So we'll be, like, laughing instead.
Yeah.
Or, like, giggling or chuckling. Which is not a great environment to be in when you're trying to focus or, like, be scared or be, like, engrossed into the movie.
Yeah, and I remember we watched Get Out together. I think you were still in university and hadn't come back yet, but we watched Get Out, and there was a scene where it was like one of the final scenes where the main actor is like strangling Rose on the street or whatever, and it's like a very emotional, like tension-filled scene because a cop car pulls up and it's like a black man strangling a white woman, and she's like smiling because she knows that she would like get off scot-free because of how it looks, and it's like this awful realization that like he should be killing her at this point, but like he's gonna get the book thrown at him and get like killed or arrested or something. You think at least, and then I was just watching it with our friend Gareth, and Gareth was so immature. He's like, she likes to be choked. And he was like just laughing so hard.
Like an intense moment.
Yeah. Like one of the most intense scenes of the movie. And then we also earlier this last spring watched Brahms the Boy 2, which is like we recommended it back in like episode 2 or 3 or something.
It's yet again like a horrendous movie.
Yeah, but I genuinely just like I like watching horror movies for like the laughs that it brings with the friend group, but I get very scared actually. So I like
and then covering your face at the same time.
It was like
really funny.
2 minutes into this movie, and I had to sit next to Ian, and I was like grabbing his arm, and he's like, "Dude, actually, it kind of hurts." Stop.
Because it was like the beginning of the movie. She was like walking down a set of stairs.
Yeah, and then you can see a shadow in the other side of the room that she can't see. So I was like, "Oh my gosh."
I feel like when it comes to our friendship group, we tend to watch the shittiest movies in cinema.
Yeah.
Like it dates back to like high school when we ended up watching this movie called Let's Be Cops. Is it Let's Be Cops?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Let's Be Cops. I'm not gonna get into that as well, but Let's Be Cops, definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
Gareth loved it.
Yeah.
Probably his favorite movie of all time.
He still quotes it.
It's
from like what, 2014 or 2015 or something. Yeah, it just goes back to the thing that like if I was with my family like in a movie theater and there were also like rambunctious teens in the back of it, I would be so annoyed. But when we're doing it, it's fine. Like we would hate ourselves if we were
us in every social situation.
Yeah. No, for sure.
American style.
But
okay, on to our somewhat new segment that we might be trying out today.
Yeah.
Cody, you want to talk to us about what the segment entails?
Yeah. So straight up, this is ripped from... Straight up, this is ripped from If I Were You, which is these two comedians, Jake and Amir's podcast. But for a couple episodes last year, they did this segment called Recent Studies Suggest. And essentially, it's one of them each week just puts into Google, like, Recent Studies Suggest. Because the whole premise of it is, like, you see so many of these, like, recent studies suggest that, like, middle-aged parents will, like, share on Facebook as if it's, like, the gospel, but it's from, like, thesun.co.uk or something like that. That, like, they were just saying that if you put, like, any ridiculous claim behind a recent study suggests, it just becomes, like, gospel to, like, so many people.
Because studies suggest
Yeah. And then you scroll down and it's, like... the like some like society or organization that you've like never heard of before or anything. But anyways, we thought we would just like each week one of us comes up with like a recent study suggest that the other person like may not know about, and then we just kind of talk about it, or maybe like
conversation,
or maybe also like end up shitting on the recent study or whatever. But anyways, this week it's gonna be Ian who found a recent study or two.
Yeah, so the first one is recent study suggests that a child born into a family whose members have allergies will probably themselves develop allergies.
Yeah. Which for me seems like total common sense.
It just makes a lot of sense. Like, studies do not need to tell us that.
Is that like basic biology with like genes?
Yeah.
Like DNA?
If you give birth to a child, it will be your child.
It will be maybe similar to you.
It might be yours.
But I thought that was so notable because my mom has really bad allergies, and I have also developed, like, we joke in my family that, like, I got the worst genes of, like, in terms of health conditions, I love my parents so much, but they always joke about that I got the worst of their, like, health conditions.
Yeah.
So, like, my mom has quite bad allergies and also, like, eczema. So she, like, seasonal allergies, like pollen and stuff like that. And then I have really bad, like, seasonal allergies, too. And then she also has, like, can get very dry skin and like eczema, and I also like on my hands like have eczema. It's just like a chronic thing. And so this past week I'm back in the office working, and everyone is still like pretty cautious about, like, you never want to be the person who coughs or like sneezes, like regardless of anything. And I, for some reason this past week, just like had such bad allergies throughout the day, and I took an allergy pill, but it didn't really help. So I was just like hyperactively like sneezing like so many times, and Ian knows this, but I sneeze in like bursts too. It's like 5 sneezes. It's never just like one, and so
they're pretty intense as well.
Yeah. And so it was just so bad because I would like sometimes be able to like stifle it in and like run to the not like run, but like fast walk to the bathroom, and then just like absolutely let out a huge sneeze. But then sometimes I would like start like feel it coming and then like reach for my mask to put on my mask and then like try to make it as quiet as possible, but still like it would still be like quite loud, or I couldn't quite like get my mask on in time.
It's also disgusting to sneeze that many times into your mask.
Oh yeah. No, for sure, because I wear glasses too, so when you sneeze, like the warm air just goes up and like fogs your glasses out. It's just not a vibe. Yeah, glasses with masks are not good, but it was just a bummer. And I think like you feel so self-conscious in that one moment, especially now. And like, I don't even think like sneezes necessarily are like a symptom of COVID, but it's just like no one wants to be the person who, because everyone has seen those like diagrams of like how fast a sneeze can like fill an entire room and stuff, and like
with a mask, without a mask,
that
kind of stuff. But it's also like everyone's hypersensitive about a cough or a sneeze nowadays. Or just anything that would connote with, like, being sick. But what's that called? I feel like, I don't know if it's an Asian thing or it's a Hong Kong thing. Like, I know a lot of people in Hong Kong who have really bad, like, allergies. And, like, eczema as well. Like, eczema in particular. Like, I do have a bit of allergies and a bit of eczema as well. So, like, dry spots on my, like, arms. Like, this kind of shit. And then I get, like, really allergic to, like, dust and, like, dirt and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's, like, something that's because of the environment we're in, or it's, like, we're genetically predisposed because it's, like, recessive in the Asian gene.
And, like, the air quality here isn't always the best in the world as well. I this could be complete bullshit, but in high school, one of the people that I knew said something that, like, every day that you live in Hong Kong, like on average, is the equivalent of smoking like X number of cigarettes per day, just because of the air quality. And of course, like there are places with worse air quality in the world too, but it just like, and I'm sure like the air quality isn't like amazing regardless of where you live, unless you're like in the middle of fucking North Dakota or something.
South Dakota, tax haven.
But yeah, it's just a bit grim to think about like all of this.
The person who told you that probably smokes. It's their excuse. If we're gonna smoke a pack a day from breathing the air, I might as well smoke a pack a day anyways.
Might as well. We're all gonna die anyways.
You smoke like 5 cigarettes at once.
Yeah. No, it's like that other thing that like everyone who smokes is like completely aware of the fact that like how bad it is for you. Like no one is smoking and it's gonna be like someone tells them, oh, you know, it really like develops lung cancer, and they're like, oh, dude, I'll stop that.
Yeah. I know so many people who would like gross themselves, like, oh, I'm gonna get lung cancer now, and then proceeds to smoke. I'm just like, or maybe you should try to cut it out.
Yeah. But like again, like none of that's gonna like stop them. And so many friends in college who smoked, and they're like, one of them just joked like, I'm gonna die anyways. Like I'm too far gone anyway.
All you can do is just like nod, be like.
An angsty 20-year-old or something. Like this is your first year smoking. But yeah, do you have another one?
Yeah, the second one is Recent studies suggest that more than half of college kids in the U.S. are at risk for malnutrition because of their notoriously bad eating habits.
Yeah.
I think that's not, like, primarily just in the U.S. I feel like it's just everywhere in the world, especially in the U.K. I'm not going to name names, but I know a couple of people who have notoriously bad eating habits, which I'm, like, not surprised as to why this study might suggest that malnutrition is a thing. Like, I know some people who would just not eat anything all day and then just, like, whip out a massive microwave lasagna and just have that. And that's that's your nutrition for the day. Or they'll only eat, like, oven-cooked food or, like, frozen stuff, like nuggets and, like, mashed potatoes. Or, like, fried chicken Kievs and, like, a bit of frozen vegetables. That's even, like, impressive to have vegetables on the plate. So, like, I feel like diet is so important. But it's also, like, foregone for a lot of college students.
I think there's, like, for me, there's, like, two things. I think especially, like, why that seems like it makes sense for me in the U.S. is because, like, food deserts are a huge thing in the U.S.
Deserts.
Yeah, it's essentially where, like, specifically in a lot of, like black neighborhoods or brown neighborhoods or, like more poorer neighborhoods, like, you can't get the same, like, amount of nutrition, or, like, people in, like, supply chains just don't deliver, like, fresh produce to, like, certain areas because people can't afford it and stuff. So what you end up getting is, like, just, like, very unhealthy food because that's all people can afford. And so I think that, like, specifically in the US, it seems like just a lot of people in general, like, can't eat healthy, like, not even just, like, college students, because of, like, food deserts and how expensive eating healthy is in a lot of places, but also the US. So that's one thing. But I mean, like, that aside, like, college students in general, I think it's just, like not a thing to eat healthy as well.
Fair enough if it's out of circumstance. And they're put in such an unfortunate circumstance. But the people I know who do this make a conscious decision to go to the supermarket, pass the fresh food and vegetables, and just grab, like, chicken, like, nuggets.
Like, the people that can afford it. There's one girl that I'm kind of friends with at my college, and she always jokes about just her, like, weird eating inventions, and everyone roasts her about it, but her most recent one, I was going to send it to you, is a slice of bell pepper, like green bell pepper, raw, a dollop of cream cheese, and then a spicy hot Cheeto on top of it.
There's no way. It has to be a joke, right?
No.
Oh my god.
That was, like, her new, like, creation.
That sounds disgusting. Like, I feel kind of sick.
She's, like, very privileged, like, socioeconomically and stuff too. But yeah, no, that makes total sense. That seems
like an intense struggle food right there.
Yeah.
Cream cheese with a bell pepper and a goddamn Cheeto.
Yeah. I feel like also, like, meal plans in the US are a big thing too. And so, like, if you have a meal plan, which are always, like, so insanely overpriced, but a lot of people just do, like,
catering?
Yeah, the equivalent of, like, your catering and accommodations. They're, like, insanely overpriced. It's like, it works out to be, like, $15 per meal, and it, like, is, like, just such bad quality food, but it is really convenient, and sometimes it's mandatory that you do it. So if you do that, it's a lot easier to, like, choose your diet and stuff, because they have, like, a salad area, which isn't great, but it has, like, spinach leaves and stuff. And so a bit easier to, like, because you don't have to, like, go out for shopping and, like, meal prep and everything. But it's also, like, very expensive and, like, not always the best quality of food per se. So if some students who are, like, very into cooking or their own routines, like, will not go with it. But for students who just don't go with it because they don't want to, it's, like, a lot harder to like build those practices in.
What's that called? So do you pay for it, like, yearly?
Yeah, like, semesterly.
Oh, okay. And so, like, you just, like, have a quota that you have to fill.
Yeah, you get, like, 18 meals per week, or, like,
you have a cat card?
Not a cat card, but
I love college. I love college.
But yeah, it works out to, like, some insane amount of money per meal.
Yeah.
And, like,
that's ridiculous.
Just looking at what you get, like, my college, the salad was always, like, had the most amount of, like, suspect things that you would find in it,
like bugs or, like,
bugs, of course. Bugs is,
of course.
Bugs is chump change. I got sand in mine. I got hair in mine. I got, like,
where does the sand
someone had
from?
a snail in theirs too, like, that's a snail in the spinach thing. But bugs are chump change.
The fact that I don't know, food hygiene, especially in, like, institutions like a school, is not, like, on par.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah, especially when they're charging them
$15 for a goddamn salad, and there's sand and, like, a goddamn forest inside.
Yeah, they have this Asian section too, which was just always so bad. But they I went to school in like white suburban Midwest, like a Chicago suburb, and they, of course, no one knows much about Asian cuisine. It's like, of course, just like, if like we were lucky if we got there. Really. And so it's like all these like middle-aged like white people who just like have to think about catering, who are like making these like pre-made Chinese meals. And rolls. One of them during Thanksgiving was like turkey noodles or something like that. It's like so bad. And then it was just genuinely so bad. And the Asian Student Union at our school had to meet with the like dining company, the dining caterer company or whatever, and like legitimately had to have a conversation. They're like, you need to stop putting turkey in what you call Asian food, because there's no Asian dish with turkey in it.
Yeah,
like,
turkey's not an Asian thing.
Yeah, turkey, like, the birds aren't in Asia. You know what I mean? They're, like, North America.
Yeah.
So, and then the catering company was like, well, we wanted to make it, like, festive for Thanksgiving, and then also, like, turkey just, like, travels a lot better, like, meat quality-wise than other things like chicken. And they're like, okay, fair enough, but don't do that. Like, just don't try to make it, like, a turkey thing.
Yeah. Did it get any better from then on?
Not better, but they stopped doing their turkey noodles.
Oh, my God.
At least, I guess that's a step or something. But yeah, you just can't hope for too much in like a Midwest town for like Asian dining at college.
I know we settled it at 2 studies, but I was looking at one that was like quite controversial or quite interesting.
I think I see it on your.
It says recent studies suggest men lie more often than women.
Yeah, from dailysaba.com/life.
That is interesting. I don't know how you can actually
go into it. Click into it. I wonder, because I was looking over at your screen, and I was wondering if you were going to end up talking about that. the photo on it is like a guy with a Pinocchio nose on it.
According to 565 studies.
Yeah.
How do you really, I don't know.
Yeah, you just clicked away so quick.
We're not going to read the study on
we can talk about it like next week or something.
And it's also a really short article.
Oh, yeah. But
yeah, that is some food for thought.
Some food for thought. I want to like know some of the circumstances in which I feel like a lot of those like case studies or things that they're lying about like must have been just like funny stories.
Yeah.
Like the people who had to interview men to see if they lie or like some.
It's touching into like men's insecurities.
Yeah. I actually could totally see that being a thing. Like, the amount that men will like get insecure about like their height or something, or like their weight or like things like that, and just like inflate it by like a figure or two.
Yeah.
Just like one of my friends the other day just like made some offhand comment that like the male ego is so fragile, and I was like, that I've been using that in conversation too, which is so true. Like, for as much as we like to like put on a tough face and stuff, like a male ego can be broken so quickly with like the smallest of words as well. So yeah, I could see that being the case. But anyways, that was a really long segment. We're like almost 30 minutes into it. I guess we can just go into.
We'll do a quick weekly catch up.
Yeah,
right?
weekly.
Quick weekly.
Okay, you for that.
No, you're gonna go first. You're gonna go first.
But we have the same one.
Let's go into our topic first. I think it makes more sense.
Okay, then you're going into the topic.
No. So our topic is
no. Okay, yeah. So I'll
about modern dating, as we previously talked about or mentioned. Mm-hmm. So Cody, you want to start us off? Thank you, Cody. Thank you, Daddy.
Whoa. So I guess Ian and I had been going back and forth whether or not to like how much of our personal lives we bring into the podcast, because we want it to be like
an intimate look into our lives.
But also only to the extent that like the people in our lives are comfortable with that too. Yeah. So we thought about doing this topic for a while, but we figured we would just kind of go ahead with it and just try to proceed with it in like the best way that we could. But I guess announcement is that both Ian and I are
gonna get married.
We're
tying the knot, guys.
In order to get an invitation, just leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and you might be able to come.
With all these bots coming.
Yeah. I'm trying to get that H1B, baby.
Yeah. Baby. But, Ian and I are both in relationships that are, like, somewhat new, actually. Like, Actually, both since we started the podcast, too.
Oh, really?
Like, both of us were single when we started the podcast.
That is
Which is
true.
weird to think about, right?
That's such good character development.
Yeah. And we, like, have left it out of most things just because it's not super necessary to talk about. But we thought that it would be interesting to kind of talk through, at least for this episode.
The early stages.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the early stages. Because both of us also met the people that we're with through, like, online dating apps and stuff, too. Which I feel like is just kind of, like, the new normal for a lot of people our age, or just like people in cities where it's like a lot easier to meet people.
I feel like it used to be super taboo, you know, like using dating apps. It's like you're meeting strangers, you don't really know what's gonna go.
Yeah, seems so like sinister.
And
stuff.
But the fact that people use it so often, I feel like people have gained somewhat a sense of security when it comes to meeting people online now.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the younger generations. I'm sure like a lot of the older generations still don't really understand it. But at the same time, it's like back in the days, they have like dating advertisements in newspapers. That's how they met each other.
Yeah.
That's even sketchier because you've never talked or interacted at all. You just see an ad of this dude who kind of matches the description that you expect.
Yeah.
And you just go and meet him.
Yeah, and also for like, I think I've been talking about this a bit with my parents. And of course, I'm sure it's kind of probably similar with yours, but it's just such a foreign concept to them, like the thing of like meeting someone through your phone and just, is that like organic or not? And just like all of our parents have like heard about like Tinder hookups and stuff, you know, and so they have kind of like that impression of like online dating. And of course, like there are like gross people on Tinder and stuff, and like there are just so many like sleazy guys on it.
Yeah.
But also like you have to think about like, it wasn't much better in like the 60s or 70s too, and they had all these things that like, I was listening to another podcaster and they were just like laughing about the norms of like 1970s dating and like how like a lot of the older generation is like, why can't it just be like how you would meet a nice young man or a nice young girl back in the day? And like you think about it and like the staple of that was like being set up by someone, and then like, or at least in like suburban 70s like US life is like driving, like picking up a rose for the person, driving up, meeting like the family and having like some like
awkward interactions.
Exactly, a conversation with like the mom and the dad and like the younger brother while the girl is like getting ready. And it's like this big like unveiling thing where she walks down the stairs and it's like, darling, you look beautiful. Like just this weird thing. And also where like the norm is for like the dad to be like sizing the guy up and everything. Like
that better be back by 9.
That was like also regressive too, you know what I mean? Like it's not just bad in its own way.
And I feel like back in the days, boundaries aren't really set.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's like this like slight male dominance to a lot of it all, which can be like equally as creepy.
Oh, definitely.
But I feel like it's easy to blame these online mediums for guys being creepy, but if a creepy guy is creepy, he's never like, he can be creepy nonetheless with or without a dating app.
Yeah. I think it's just he gets exposure to so many more people now. But it's also, I guess, like a bit more safer to, at least for women, like to like get awareness of that, or like they're seeing that they're creepy from a phone, not necessarily because they're like being creeped on like in the moment or something. And of course, like harassment and stuff still does happen, but yeah, like I feel like they get a bad rap a lot, like these dating apps.
To be honest, I was personally like very against dating apps to begin with.
Oh, really?
Like super like traditional, like I love old school romance and all that stuff, and I always thought I was gonna meet someone like organically, either through like friends of friends or like through, I don't know, whatever. But I think it's just like easy to, you know, cast a bad light on these things, and I decided to give it a go.
Yeah.
And let's say I didn't regret it.
Yeah.
I didn't regret it. So my situation was kind of interesting. So I don't know if I should name names. Should we name names?
You can just go into it, I guess. And then if it's bad,
if I name names, you gotta name names.
Okay, maybe we don't.
We don't name names. So essentially, I was like, I matched with her on a dating website, and
the circumstance mingle.com.
Coffee meets bagel. Essentially, she was coming to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And she wasn't in Hong Kong yet, but I talked to her for like a couple of months, like a month or two before that, which I thought was like really good. Like at least you kind of phase out like whether or not you think you would like the person.
Of course.
And then beyond just texting, we decided to do calls as well, just to make sure she wasn't like a serial killer and that she was actually real.
Yeah.
So going through this vetting process, although long,
the vetting process,
it was I would say it's pretty successful now.
Yeah.
And then actually finally getting to see her, it was like slightly awkward, but also not as awkward because you feel like you kind of know the person.
Yeah, of course.
So I thought like that part was pretty nice. Like at least getting to know the person before meeting them, or actually like building somewhat of a connection. And I think that's what has kept us going this entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I've broken out of this cocoon of like wanting to meet someone. I mean, I still like whoa.
Yeah, you better proceed with reverence.
I'm still not opposed to the ideas of like meeting someone organically, but then this has opened my eyes to this new like avenue.
Yeah.
And not to just like shun it instantly.
Yeah, of course. I feel like it's so easy to like just get a bad impression, or like because of like what our parents say, or like if someone has a vendetta against dating apps, like they will make it known like very easily in a conversation about dating. And it's hard to like disaggregate that from like, then you start being like, oh shit, like actually that's kind of true, like taking their words for gospel. But
also fine. Like I used to always be like scared, like I don't want to meet someone online because I don't want to have to say like, oh, I met someone online. But now that I'm like more comfortable with the idea, like I don't really care. Like I would say it because that's such a small part of the whole picture. You know?
Yeah. Of course.
What was your experience like, Cody?
I guess also online, and like we started talking for a few days and then ended up getting like a dinner date. Okay. Getting like a dinner date together. And I was actually with Ian right before I went on that. Do you remember that? Because we went for a drive around. We were studying together and then went for a drive around. But it's just one of the things that I thought is quite funny now. And this isn't just a byproduct of like online dating. It's just like the first date thing now and like what you talk about. Because it's very like, if you've been introduced to someone through someone, like the first date is about like getting to know the person.
You always
better,
talk about the person that you guys know as well.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like some inbuilt things for conversation.
Yeah.
And so you can talk about like, oh, like what do you do? Like tell me about your life. But oftentimes depending on how long you've met the person online, like chances are you've talked about a lot of things already. So it's kind of like, what do you like talk about, or like how do you get the ball rolling? And so I remember like both of us were like, oh, so like how was your day? And we'd already talked about how our day had gone. So it's like 20 minutes ago. Just like one of those pleasantries that you kind of have to do. But both people know already like how the conversation went already.
That is very interesting because like normally if you meet someone like in person, you start doing the get to know you process in person.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've already done that behind like a virtual screen.
Yeah.
I've never properly consciously thought about that.
Yeah, that was just like a thing that I cringed out a tiny bit at like on the first date. But it's fine. You just find other things to talk about that like maybe are a bit deeper than what you would just talk about online or something.
Yeah.
Another big thing now is like we're lucky to be in Hong Kong where at least like you can still go and like meet someone. But like with COVID and everything, like Bumble and Hinge and Tinder are like trying to do all these promotions for like virtual dates and like I just like don't know if I could personally do that
because you need physical touch.
No, not physical touch. It's just hard for me, like my touch. I just think one of the worst things for like the first time meeting someone online is like, oh, can you hear me? Oh, like looks like you're like.
And also, I hate like calling online because you always feel like you have to contribute. Like, you can't like. Silences on video chat are the worst.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts.
Yeah. I'm like I'm sitting at a desk or something and my fists are like clenched whenever there's like fuck. Yeah. And then it's like right when the silence ends, like both of you start talking. I'm like,
you go.
You go. Oh, you go. Oh, and then silence. So I think
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Just so bad. But again, like I'm glad we're in Hong Kong because I have friends in the US that have like wanted to put themselves out more, just like are feeling lonely now and want to meet people. And it's just like kind of hard to do that when, especially like if you're working remotely or taking classes remote, you already have kind of like Zoom fatigue and like video calling fatigue, and the last thing you want to do to like be stress free and like meeting someone is like talk to a screen again. You know? But yeah, I'm glad we're in Hong Kong at least about that.
And I feel like dating apps are definitely popping up during this time as well.
Yeah, just, for sure.
As you said, people want to meet other people.
Yeah.
But I feel like the thing about dating apps though, which I don't like particularly, I would say like is the kind of desensitization to like like faces and people through an app. Like, they're not actual people in your eyes. It's so easy to just swipe them away or swipe like you like them or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like this whole thing about like you wouldn't do that in person. Like in person, if you actually wanted to meet someone, you would like meet them and then talk to them and then decide whether or not you actually want to be with them or want to continue something. But here it's just like a swipe of a finger. And that person's like gone. It's just a really weird thing to wrap around.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to my mom too, and like, so on Bumble you can use like all these different metric like filters, and like even fucking horoscope sign on it too, and then based on that you can filter out what you want to be in your selection and what you don't want to be included. So like height is an obvious one, like weight is there too, but like horoscope signs too. So like you can choose not to see like a Sagittarius or like
people
a Capricorn
love that kind of stuff now. Not compatible star signs.
Yeah, and so my mom was like, and then you just like never see them. And I was like, like they won't be in your search results. And she's like, oh, okay, interesting.
Were you always like super open to using like dating apps, or did you have to like kind of force yourself to try it out?
I think I had to force myself to try it out. Like earlier in the year, I was just feeling lonely and had gotten out of a very long-term relationship, and so I also like go to a college where it's not super encouraged. It's like very conservative Christian college. And so like it wasn't like a lot of people were like encouraging me to put myself out there using that. And
I don't think the Bumble van would be on campus.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, what is a Bumble van?
Or like the Bumble like representatives.
Oh yeah.
We'll have that on my like university.
Oh really?
Yeah.
No, we've never like I don't know.
We had like Bumble come into our campus. We had like I think Tinder even came to our campus.
That's really cool. Yeah. But yeah, like that just goes to show I have no idea what that is. And so I just like kind of took the chance and said that I would like try it out to be fun, but I was very scared and like very apprehensive about going into it the first time because it was just like completely foreign to me. And then I was also just in an environment where it was kind of like looked down upon or seen as like dirty or slimy a bit. So,
Did you like go into it expecting something that was long term or short term? No,
I wanted to go on it like purely as just a way to like improve my self-confidence or like become
just go on dates and like see people.
Like meet new people, but even if dates didn't happen, like just become more comfortable with something that like an increasingly large amount of people our age are doing and like didn't want to be like so anti or like against it and stuff too. But what about you
in terms of what,
like what you asked me, like what did you go into online dating or like Tinder or Bumble like expecting, or like what did that process look like for you as well?
I think it's really shitty the way I'm going to describe it, but it was just like for fun, like just trying to like kill time as well. But I wasn't really expecting to meet anyone that would end up being with in particular. It's more like if I end up meeting with someone, I meet up with someone, it's probably gonna be short term, probably gonna be nothing too special. But I guess this is a interesting circumstance. Interesting turn of events. A pleasant turn of events, I would say.
Does she listen to the podcast?
Yeah, she does.
Oh, okay. You think she's going to be listening to this one right now?
I'll probably ask her to. Shout out to you! Shout out to you!
I was explaining to my parents as well, like, how you met her. And how it was, like, you can, on certain apps, change your location setting to be anywhere in the world. And that was just, like, such a revolutionary thing for them as well. Like, just the fact that you don't have to be in any, like, similar city or, like, even similar state or anything. Like, you can set your location to be anywhere in the world and then start swiping on people that are in that location, too.
I was also talking to her about this. Like, I mean, it goes for a lot of different circumstances and a lot of different things. But, like, she was like, if it wasn't for, like, certain things in like the dating app, like we wouldn't have ever actually met or interacted with each other, which is like pretty crazy.
It's weird. It is
like
really
we would
weird,
have never crossed paths. Or even if we did, like maybe we bumped into the road, but we would never actually like know each other or be with each other.
And that's a weird thing. I think it's kind of similar even like in the old style of dating or whatever, like being introduced to someone. And I was thinking about that, just like how much like lives or like something super super small is like interwoven with like the larger fabric of society, like
butterfly effect.
Like anything you do can like have huge ripple effects for like an entire
is it butterfly
person's
effect
life.
Or string theory?
I have no clue. I have no
Proceed. Proceed.
But I think butterfly effect, because that's like going back in time and seeing.
But like the smallest, the butterfly effect is like the smallest thing you do is gonna have like a monumental change to something in the world.
Yeah, that's mostly what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
And so just like thinking through, like so introspectively, like anyone on the street that you're walking by that you see or even don't see, like in another timeline where something else happened, like
their lives.
You could be best friends with them, you could be like worst enemies with them, you could be like with them or like married to them or something too, which is like such a weird just like thing to think about. The person,
oh my god, in an alternate universe, I'm probably married to you.
Yeah. Like infinite universe, we are married.
Yeah, we are married.
We have 6 kids. But like the person that I'm with right now, like lives super close to like areas of the city that we were always like hanging out together. You and me and our friend group are just like that I'll always go to shop. And she also goes to those like same places. And so we were thinking about this, like, do you think I've ever seen you like on the street or we've walked past each other on the street? And I think like chances are like maybe like there's a decent chance,
especially since Hong Kong is so small.
Hong Kong is so condensed and small, so just a weird thing to think about.
Food for thought.
We live in a society.
Anything you want to ask or add?
No, I guess if people like this, then I guess we can talk more about relationships or dating, like in the future.
If we get 10 more reviews, we're gonna...
That's a lot.
Name reviews.
I don't even think we have 10 reviews.
Name reveals.
Unveiling. An unveiling ceremony.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about more or less depending on...
No, we'll see.
We just wanted to keep it easy to start off with.
But yeah, we shall end it here. Follow us on Instagram at PitcherPod. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We're going to be giving out shout-outs. Shout-outs, please, to everyone who rates and reviews us on Apple Podcasts. Yeah. I really wonder how many people actually make it to this end, like to the outro.
Oh, I've seen our stats. Not
probably like 1 out of like a million.
The sad thing on Spotify is that for the analytics, you can see the level of engagement by like the entire episode, and so like just seeing how it dies off towards the end is so depressing.
But whatever. Subscribe and check us out on YouTube, Spotify as well. Also, email and DM us at pitcherpod@gmail.com with thoughts or suggestions, and we might bring on, the actress from The Wretched onto the podcast soon.
We definitely will be.
Yes, we would. But yeah, we'll grab a picture with you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.